Awaiting new action on Capitol Hill, about to get our first look at a spending bill today that will fund the government through April. It's already been a drama-filled process. Joining us now, Scott Jennings, former special assistant to President George W. Bush and former Ohio state director for the Romney presidential campaign. Adam Green is also with us, Democratic strategist and co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee. Thanks, both of you, for being here. Scott, we are not hearing anything about government shutdown this time around. Is this bill done?
This is a done deal. It will be done this week. We're not on the brink of crisis, and elections have consequences, and in this case, it's a good one if you're a conservative, because we're going to get a short-term bridge to next year, and then President Trump, with a fully staffed administration, working with Speaker Ryan and Leader McConnell, will write a longer-term spending plan. So for conservatives, this is a great outcome, and we're not on the brink of any government shutdown, so things are working well in Washington this week.
Scott's happy, Adam. How about you?
Well, this bill will likely pass. There's not going to be a government shutdown. But I'm not sure conservatives should be happy. This week is really going to show the hypocrisy of the Republican elites and the Republican establishment. I mean, what this bill does is it reinforces policies that Paul Ryan and others have had that fail to invest in jobs, fail to invest in our communities, things that even Donald Trump in many cases opposes. And what's really interesting is that as we pass this and a separate bill that's going to fund the opioid crisis, solving that, that's going to fund cancer research, every time you hear word that this Republican Congress is passing a bill in the lame duck, that is just confirmation of how much they have been proactively obstructing and grinding the gears of government to a halt the last couple of years. So if anybody's upset that government's not getting anything done, every time you hear about a bill passing under a Republican Congress, just remember that's vindication of the fact that they've been obstructing the whole time.
Well, but Adam, as you well know, after Barack Obama entered office with Democratic legislatures, the House and the Senate were both under Democratic control. The Republican numbers have gone up and up in subsequent elections. Doesn't that say something about the direction that the country is hoping to go?
Well, it's funny because, obviously, I think everybody knows at this point, Trump has lost the popular vote by 2.5 million votes. More people voted for Democrats for Senate. More people voted for Democrats for House. So if the literal question is what direction does the country want to go, it's pretty clear it's not towards the Republican elites, but the way that some of these rules work. I mean, it is kind of a rigged system. Unfortunately, it's being rigged against us. But I will say that the one big function of this bill passing this week is that it clears the deck for a full throttle fight in January on nominations. And what we're going to see is things like Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, a second-generation Goldman Sachs banker who personally profited by foreclosing on many, many families' homes, will be the poster child for Donald Trump betraying his own voters and siding with big corporations, doing crony capitalism, siding against working families. And we are eager to have that fight, because what we'll see is that a lot of people who came out to vote for Donald Trump, thinking that they were voting for a better economic life for their family, are not going to be very happy in January.
All right, Scott, what about it? Do you agree with Adam in that this bill makes possible, devoting January to nominations and getting the president's team a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, I hear a lot of sour grapes and useless talking points from the guys who just lost the election. Here's the bottom line. The government's going to be funded. Come January, President Trump is going to nominate a good cabinet, and he's going to staff the government with good people, and Mitch McConnell, leading the Senate, is going to move those folks through the process. This will include
a Supreme Court nominee. Do you think we need more Goldman Sachs bankers or less Goldman Sachs bankers? Do you think we need more Wall Street bankers or less in the cabinet? What's your opinion?
Adam, he didn't interrupt you. Let him finish.
And once we get the nomination process done, which should take a couple of months, then we'll resume picking up the conversation with the Trump administration about spending priorities for the next couple of years. So what the American people want is for the government to work. They're tired of crisis. They're tired of coming to the brink of government shutdowns. We've averted that this week. And they also want to, as we know, Donald Trump won the election. More Republicans in elected office than at any time in American history, I believe, right now, from top to bottom, federal all the way down to the local level. They want a more conservative outlook for our nation's policy future, and that's what they're going to get out of the Trump administration, Ryan and McConnell, and we're going to see all that come to pass in the first quarter. I think we're going to see a lot of major policy action, major shifts in spending priorities, and it's going to be good for the economy, good for jobs, and the American people are going to be very happy with the fact that we're going to dislodge this government in Washington
and get to action. As you say that people want the government to work, every time you hear about a bill passing right now, that is vindication for the idea that it is Republicans that have been blocking the government from working. You say we're going to have a shift in spending priorities. You're right. It's going to be very interesting to see whether Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, who have opposed massive investment in jobs, massive investment in our communities, investments that have payoffs, will they actually go along with Trump when he proposes infrastructure? Will that kind of show America that they've been bluffing the entire time?
That's what we're about to find out. That's what we're about to find out. Adam Green, Scott Jennings, thank you both.
Thank you.